Can I sit here just for a minute? The whisper was so soft it almost disappeared into the airport noise, but something about it cut straight through the CEO's thoughts. He had been staring at the floor, drowning in emails and regrets, when he looked up and saw her, small, steady, balancing on one leg with practiced grace, holding a worn backpack close to her chest. Her eyes weren't begging, they were hopeful. Before he realized it, the words left his mouth, quiet but certain, of course. And as you listen to this story, if moments like this touch your heart, pause for a second, like this video, and subscribe to the channel, because stories like these remind us why kindness still matters in a world that moves too fast. The girl sat beside him on the cold metal bench, her shoulders relaxing as if she had been holding the weight of the world. The CEO noticed the way people passed without looking, the way they always did. He was used to being invisible in crowds despite his success, tailored suit, polished shoes, a life that looked perfect from the outside. Yet here, next to a child who had lost a leg but not her courage, he felt seen in a way he hadn't in years. She smiled, small and sincere, and said thank you like it meant something deep. They sat in silence for a moment, watching travelers rush by with rolling suitcases and tired faces. The CEO finally spoke, asking where she was headed. She explained she was waiting for her mother, who was trying to sort out a ticket problem at the counter. They had been traveling for hours, and standing too long made her tired. She said it without complaint, as if hardship was just another part of life, like weather. He noticed the prosthetic leg, carefully fitted but scuffed at the edges, and felt a familiar ache in his chest. Years ago, he had lost something too. Not a limb, but something just as important. His wife. His sense of purpose beyond profit and boardrooms. He had built an empire after her death, convincing himself that success could fill the emptiness. It hadn't. The girl caught him staring and laughed gently. It's okay, she said. People always look. He apologized, embarrassed, but she shook her head. I don't mind. This leg helped me walk again. That makes it special. Her words were simple, but they landed heavy. How long had it been since he'd seen something broken as beautiful? She told him her name was Eileen and that she loved drawing clouds because they were free to be any shape they wanted. She dreamed of becoming an artist one day, even though some kids at school told her she couldn't. They say I'm different, she said, shrugging. But different doesn't mean less, right? The CEO swallowed hard. He had sat in countless meetings discussing diversity and inclusion like abstract concepts, yet here it was, alive and breathing beside him. He nodded and said the words that would change both their lives. You're beautiful, he told her. Not out of pity, not as a polite compliment, but with truth. Her eyes widened, and for a moment she looked like she might cry. Instead, she smiled brighter than the terminal lights. Her mother returned soon after, apologizing for the trouble. She looked exhausted, worry etched into every line of her face. The CEO stood, ready to leave, but something stopped him. He offered to help with the ticket issue, mentioning connections, influence, things he rarely spoke about anymore. The mother hesitated, pride battling necessity, then nodded. Within minutes, the problem was solved. Their journey was back on track. Gratitude spilled from the mother in quiet tears, but the CEO waved it off, feeling lighter than he had in years. As they prepared to part ways, Eileen reached into her backpack and handed him a folded piece of paper. For you, she said. So you don't forget me. On the plane later that night, he opened it. Inside was a drawing of two people sitting on a bench, one tall, one small, with clouds shaped like hearts above them. On the back, she had written, "Thank you for seeing me." He closed his eyes, overwhelmed. That meeting haunted him in the best way. Back at his glass-walled office, surrounded by awards and numbers, he couldn't stop thinking about Eileen's words. He began to notice things he'd ignored. Employees afraid to speak up, people with disabilities struggling to access spaces his company controlled. The next board meeting didn't start with profits. It started with a question, who are we leaving behind? Change didn't come easily. There was resistance, skepticism, talk of costs and risks. But the CEO persisted, driven by a small girl with one leg and a heart bigger than any balance sheet. He funded accessibility programs, scholarships, art grants for children like Eileen. Slowly, the culture shifted. Months later, he received a letter. It was from Eileen. She told him she had her first art exhibition at school and that people clapped for her drawings. She said she stood on her special leg the whole time and didn't feel tired at all. Enclosed was another drawing, this time of a building with ramps, open doors, and people smiling inside. Tears blurred his vision. He realized then that success wasn't about how high you climb, but how many hands you hold along the way. He visited her town soon after, not as a CEO, but as a friend. They sat on another bench, this one overlooking a park, and talked about clouds. As the sun set, Aylan asked him if he was happy now. He thought about it, truly thought, and smiled. "I'm getting there," he said. And he meant it. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that kindness can change lives in moments we don't expect, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. These stories live because you're here to hear them. And remember this, no matter what you've lost or how different you feel, you are not invisible. Sometimes all it takes is 1 minute, one seat, and one human heart willing to see you.